Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the blockchain.
Now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gon' stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you've already done so, do us a favor, drop some GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, a bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. It warms up the room and does us a real solid. We're live over on YouTube as well as my abstract today. Steve is on a plane and won't be joining us, so I'm flying solo, and I'm going to be candid. For the second time this week, I can't remember until this week. I can't remember the last time I slept until after 7 a.m., and I did it twice this week. Rolled out of bed about 7:20. Scrambling. I had a spin class I was supposed to go this morning at 6 a.m. Slept right through that. I didn't even set an alarm because I never set alarms. I usually just wake up pre-5. But Vegas got me. The Vegas monster got me, and apparently my body felt I needed to catch up on some of my precious sleep. So dragging a little bit here once again. 2 times this week we slept in a little bit, and not a good day to do it because Steve is on a plane, and I did zero prep this morning. So few things we can hit on, but open stage today, variety show, and without co-host and me coming in hot, we might we'll see how the day goes, but probably a show of the shorter variety this morning, and we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. I know I alluded to a special guest from Amazon. We did connect. They've got heads down for their big Boximus mint tomorrow. May pop on just a bit tomorrow just to kind of talk about any mint details there, but likely after mint we'll have them on where they've got some time to for a more of a deeper interview and to really talk through things. But like I said, if you haven't already done so already, give us a like, a repost, a bookmark on the space. We'd appreciate getting things warmed up. We're live over on Abstract as well as YouTube. And as always, I'm Cap, co-host list today. But never any financial advice in the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins except risky. Go to zero moments notice. Please don't put any money you can't afford to lose. Know that Steve and myself and probably our guest hold tokens that we'll talk about from time to time. We're not financial advisors, certainly not your financial advisor. don't join us for that. Just join us for some fun, some information, and a little bit of education along the way. Now that we got that out of the way, the one thing I did have on my plate, actually, I'm going to go there right now and see if the new day has reset for the Monad claim. I don't even have any cold open material because we are 54 minutes. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll make it till at least we'll run until at least 9 o'clock. We'll rip some Monad boxes on day 2, and we can kind of talk through that. Hope everyone that did claim their Monad on day 1 did well there. If you missed it, it was basically that the eligibility came out a week ago or so, a couple weeks ago, I guess. And then yesterday you were able to log in. As you can see, there's 3 days. Day 1 was yesterday. I think everyone got 3 boxes. I'm not sure if there was, I'm pretty sure all had 3 boxes, and then the amount of Monad in each box varied, but it was kind of like a pack rip, essentially, a box opening. And, you'd open one and tell you how many Monad or Mon, what are we calling it? Mon or Mon? Mon? Hey, Mon. Can't even do a Jamaican accent. That's bad. So, who knows what this means? I saw some money math, some monkey math that said, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 grand, which if today and tomorrow are equal to that, I would be very pleased. 12K. I said anything over like 25, I'd be ecstatic. Real expectation, much less than that. But I mean, so far so good, and pleased. Looking at some of the other large accounts with much larger reach than myself, seeing them in the 70 to 100 Mon range got me pretty excited. This could be a decent one. But yeah, we'll do we'll open that up here. I didn't see this music. Maybe barely hear it, but I guess there's some background music there. Okay. I like it. We will we'll come back to that later on and do the, and that was weird. I got a little echo when I turned that down. Hopefully audio is okay this morning. I think we got everything solved on that front. But again, congrats all on their Monad boxes, and good luck on day 2. Like I said, lighter day today. I slept in and playing a little catch up. So if there's anything on your mind, anything you want us to see us dive deep into, let me know in the chat or throw up a request. Happy to talk through any and everything. Yeah, DW just says Monad supplying all the KOLs to kill any FUD seems to be working well. Nobody gonna hear me complaining about getting nothing, so I won't bother. I think it's a viable strategy. I mean, I certainly understand how people might be frustrated, or oh, the rich get richer, or you're not included. I could see how it'd make you feel a certain way. And I know I also sitting from a biased seat because I snuck in as like card rank number 4,999, barely squeaking into that 5K. So grateful for that. But from a business standpoint, makes sense. I mean, it's just good business. I said this before, but you think about these, most of these KOLs, if you want them to tweet positively about your project, you're paying them more than what they're allocating here. And they're doing an allocation anyways. They're doing an airdrop. They're doing token rather than paying these KOLs 10, 15, 25 grand campaigns in cash. So I think it just makes sense. It's not like they're not giving allocation to others. It's just in many cases, some of the larger accounts who didn't participate on Monad or haven't been talking about Monad, they're getting a large allocation. And I think it was Easy said yesterday, yeah, you give everyone, I'll see if I can find this actual tweet so I'm not misquoting. Give everyone, 10K. It'll get them talking good about you, or at least not talking bad about you. Yeah, Monad did the smartest thing. Easy says Monad did the smartest thing. Give everyone 10K and no one will ever fudge you. Monad is such a good blockchain, man. Huge fan of it. And I use Rabbit Wallet for Monad. So yeah, this is 91,000 Monad there for Easy. 28, 82, and 55. I'm curious if there's RNG in these boxes or it's all predetermined. We may not know, but yeah, I understand if you didn't get allocation and you're not a fan of how they did it. but from a reach standpoint and a marketing standpoint, it works well. Diablito followed that up with GVC, had a similar strategy as Monad, works well in this space. I agree, it does. I see FFE rocking his Good Vibes Club honorary out there. Steve and myself both have an honorary that we'll rock from time to time, and we're big fans of that team. Now, would we be big fans of that team without whether we got an honorary or not? Yeah, we were big fans of them before we got the honorary. That said, I think there's probably a lot of people that weren't as close to Steve and I that also got an honorary, and maybe that's what brought them into the ecosystem. Maybe that's what made them a fan, and or maybe they never became a fan, but they've just been nice. They don't have anything nice to say. They're not saying anything at all because the team hooked them up and they like the honorary. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to reward and incentivize influential accounts where the market has spoken? We know there. I mean, it's a range, but get them to talk good about you. It comes with a premium price tag, and I think this is one way to go about that. And if it goes well, I wouldn't be surprised to see more future allocations follow a similar suit, or like MegaETH is doing. And this is, I think, the best of all worlds, where they're incorporating your social reach, they're incorporating your ethos score, they're incorporating your on-chain activity. And to me, this is, I'm hopeful we head towards a space where that your real credentials, your real on-chain and social resume is taken into consideration for all this stuff, and as opposed to making people jump through Discord calisthenics and do silly stuff on the timeline to get attention. I saw Oxy flew up with a hand. Always brings the great takes. Oxy, GM, what brought you up this morning, sir?
Yeah, I wanted to just talk about the Monad. You kind of just said exactly what I was thinking. It's like, to a certain extent, I guess I completely agree that, like, paying KOLs to just post tweets to, like, people that are just on X that don't actually participate in the ecosystem or have helped, quote unquote, build, Web3 and crypto as it is today. It's so much more beneficial to reward people that have on-chain activity. It's like, these are the people that are going to actually be using the product. Like, the people that have never touched the blockchain because they're just like InfoFi farmers or what have you, or have very, very minimal activity. It's like, that doesn't do anything for the project. So I understand. I got an allocation, so I'm probably coping why I deserve, I deserve this free money a little bit. But I don't know. I understand the frustration to a certain extent, but then I also understand why they did it the way they did. So yeah, I completely agree with what you said.
I get both sides of it. I understand any frustrations, anyone who's on the sidelines or didn't get allocation, and especially someone that was grinding. Although I haven't really seen anyone that I'm sure they're out there. My perception, my interpretation of those that are upset with Monad don't appear to be like real, like actual community members, actual testnet members. Rather, they were ones doing the high volume, low effort farming, and those aren't valuable users. Like, we all know those aren't valuable users. It's not a good. It's a wallet that'll probably never do anything on your chain again, and they're only here. It's like, you could say, oh, the KOL's never going to do anything on your chain. It doesn't matter. They're going to talk positively about you. They're going to do what you would pay them for. Whereas you're never going to pay the farmer with $100 in their wallet that they're just cyber farming, across dozens or hundreds of wallets. Like, they're never going to, even if they talk about your chain, it's going into a void because they have like 7 followers on X. It's a bot account. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Candidly, I'm not really sure what motion the chain has. Like, the biggest, like, and I'm not trying to pit the two against each other. I'm not trying to make this PvP. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and change the title: Monad versus MegaETH. That'll be a good one. I understand a lot of what MegaETH has going and ready for launch, and they're, as far as I know, going to be launching after Monad. As far as mainnet actually going live, they've got a lot of apps, a lot of cool builders, a lot of things, a lot of motion already, a lot of community. And not saying there's not community around Monad, there clearly is. Just, other than, I know Sappy Seals are doing some stuff over there. I've seen that team getting pretty excited about this Monad launch. I know Fantasy Top went over there, but I'm not even sure if that's like their primary home or forever home. I just don't know what happens after TGE on Monad, whereas I'm much more optimistic about TVL, attention, and use case for MegaETH. Thoughts on that, Oxy?
Yeah, like I was just thinking, like, I actually don't even know what's going on. Like, I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of information at all about what's being built over there. Like Fantasy Top actually like winded down their app on Monad. Like it feels like
wild, right?
Yeah.
So I was,
dude, it's insane. I'm like, wait a minute.
I wasn't certain.
This is valued at $5 billion.
They went over there pre-mainnet and have already left before mainnet launches, correct? Like I wasn't certain, so I didn't want to misspeak, but that's how it played out, right? Like,
yeah, that's my understanding as well, that they've completely shut down the Monad side of the platform. Yeah, and it's just base, and so I guess it was on Blast. Now I think it's only on base at this point, but yeah, that's really interesting now that we see talk about it.
Yeah, I should have actually attempted to get someone from the team on here so we could give them a better. Maybe I can still do that this week. Give them actual proper coverage. So here's one thing for Monad. Exciting news for Monad builders. Dynamic XYZ is a top-tier embedded wallets team offering custom package to eligible builders, including credits, dedicated support, and more. Monad builders keep winning. Monad was purpose-built to be one of the fastest EVM chains ever. Dynamic is proud to support that mission. We're offering Monad builders access to premium wallet infrastructure. So there's a wallet. Presumably MetaMask and Rabby will also work there. Yeah, so what's Monad has so far? High quality open source C++ Rust code base with many HFT style optimization and architectural changes. No idea what that means. I mean, I have an idea, but I'm not the dev. Public audits and clear docs that put technology first, transparency, no hand waving, no unsubstantiated claims. High performance system focused on true decentralization, running continuously in testnet with 186 globally distributed validators at 5,000 to 10,000 TPS. Monad BTF, a frontier consensus mechanism featuring 400 millisecond block times, 800 millisecond finality, and large globally distributed validator set. Tail fork resistance, async execution, Monad DB for efficient Merkle tree storage, native code compiler so over 100 million in ecosystem funding pre-mint. I'd like to know what got funded, because everything I read here sounds good. I'm not trying to knock it. I'm gonna not critique it either because I'm not a dev. Like, it sounds cool. I mean, it's a lot of tech. As I read through that, I think MegaETH is also more performant. So it's better tech than some blockchains that came before it, but it's going to be inferior than one that's coming right after it. Yeah, I don't know. What are the big dApps? What are we going to do to utilize the tech on Monad? And I'm not fudding. I'm asking questions because I don't know. I hope it's a cook. Send Monad to $1. I will be even a bigger fan. But comparing everything I've seen from Monad compared to what I've seen from and maybe this is part of it. Maybe X isn't their primary platform of communication. Maybe it's Telegram, maybe it's Discord, maybe it's their website. I've seen a lot from the Mega Mafia and teams, and I'm aware of a lot of dApps. We had, I think yesterday we were showing, or a couple days ago. Oh, there's one. Drake got a 1 million, not the artist, but Drake got a 1 million seed round led by CMS Holdings, with the majority coming from the Monad community. They're redesigning on-chain perps on Monad. So we got a perp dex, at least that's how I interpret that. Fastest CLOB, highest yields all in one. More perps, exactly what we needed here. Any Oxy, I'll throw it back to you. Any other thoughts to close this loop on Monad? I guess here's a few more these oracles have been upgraded to push price feeds on Monad. I guess like maybe this is exciting devs. I just sorry for the lack of great thoughtful content here. I was reaching, trying to go through, trying to find some apps and not really seeing a lot. So yeah, Oxy, any final thoughts on Monad?
Yeah. No, I just wish the team would like push that a little bit more. I think MegaETH does a really good job at like calling out like what their teams are building and like the different raises and retweeting it and like just pushing it out to the timeline. And I don't feel like Monad could probably do a little bit better job at that, just so we're all aware of like what's coming, because like you said, we know exactly what's coming for MegaETH. So yeah, I don't know. I just like the team to promote that a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not just MegaETH. I mean, MegaETH is, yeah, they're doing I think a really good job promoting more of this stuff, getting it out there as far as the teams. And I think that's really important. I think how they've worked with these teams, the support they've given them, the funding they've helped with. You can see MegaETH, a lot of their most recent stuff is around this public sale. But prior to that, it was really quite frequently, yeah, they were talking about their tech and how performant their blockchain is, but a lot of support for the MegaETH builders. And, you know, we talked about Chainlink tapping MegaETH for first native real-time Oracle to power next-gen DeFi. Yeah, it's a little technical for me, but the analogy I've used is the TradFi markets, the Wall Street bros wanting to get their offices right next to the server to gain those milliseconds. This Mega Mafia 2.0, you know, they've done, you know, now 2 of these where they basically took a cohort of builders and put them in a hacker house for a month straight to work together. So it's like, I think that's magical, man. I am so bullish on that specifically. Like, makes me want to be a part of it. It makes me want, if like I was going to go build something, like that's where I'd want to immerse myself in to build. And you can see here they had Kumbaya, Benchmark, Rocket, Bricks, and Stomp were part of round 2. You know, I'll see if I can find the round 1 here in a second. You know, more apps, more bangers, more ways for crypto to go mainstream. It just like, this is, I think all this stuff's really important. And as I'm not saying blockchains are becoming commodities, but anyone with a little bit of capital can build one nowadays. Like, it's not like you could keep having the race to, you know, faster, cheaper. I really think the builders and what's being built on your chain is increasingly important. And how you're going to get those builders to stay and not leave, like Fantasy Top went to Monad pre-launch and already left. You know, building relationships with them, right? Like, one way is if you fund them and you're on the cap table, maybe you have a little bit of say there. Even if it's not like maybe you can't force them to stay, maybe you don't have controlling stake, but you're vested. They're going to likely there's a deeper relationship there. You're going to respect them, and if there's other relationships with other builders that you've integrated with, I just like that to me is a much stickier chain when you're really deeply supporting these builders. As opposed to just building the chain for them to build on. I saw Joey flew up. Joey, GM, what brought you up this morning?
GM guys, my cousin has actually been building / BD on Monad for since before NFT NYC 2020. What was the one that the one when there was like the earthquake in New York City? Was that 2024 or 2023?
Good question. I forgotten about that. I don't remember. Probably 23.
I feel like it was 23 because that was the one I actually stayed in his apartment in the city that year. It was when the Nultra show. Anyways, but he's been building / doing BD for Monad for however long that's been, and he's been telling me, "Oh, I'll get you on testnet and do this and do that." And he introduced me to some people. And remember, there was that one I told you about, the one guy that they were doing sports betting on testnet, and he keeps talking to me about it, and I keep asking him like, "Well, but why? Like, what is it? What's different?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, well, they're gonna have this and they're gonna have that," and I keep telling him, but every blockchain has that, right? So like, what is it? And now, not to take away from them, because they have been building for it's like 3 years now. So they're definitely committed and dedicated to it. But every time we talk about it, and I tell them, like, why should I be using Monad instead of Abstract or Polygon or, you know, any of the other base or any of the other ones I use? In his defense, he kind of doesn't. He never like gives me a real reason as to like why it's better. Whereas to your point, and again, I'm not here to say it's Monad versus MegaETH, but to your point, when you have guys like Bread come representing your community and can rattle off all the reasons why MegaETH is the future, right? Real time, this, and all the complicated dev stuff that most of us don't understand. You know, you're just becoming another layer 2 in the sea of layer 2s. So I kind of did some research early on Monad and tweeted about it a few times, but there was nothing over there that really excited me. And I don't know what's going to happen to them, to be honest. I hope I hope they stick around because they have been building for so long, but I can't name a single DApp over there. And then you just said like a perp dex. How many perp dexes do we need?
Well, I mean, I think probably every chain needs perp dex going forward if they want to keep that. You know, are the market leaders still going to capture dominant market share? Yeah, but there's also in bridging. And that's the other thing too. Like, few people talk about is as the tech has improved and gotten so much better, and bridging is so much more efficient, and we have things like Relay, and it's not nearly as difficult to go from one ecosystem to another. Wallets are better. The tech is just so much better. It's like lowered the, I don't want to say barrier of entry, but it's lowered. You know, there used to be kind of like a, you know, like a little bit of a hurdle to get to other chains to lead, because you didn't want to build a huge community on one chain and then move somewhere else and then lose half your community because they can't figure it out. Or it's just that stuff. The underlying tech has gotten so much better, so much easier to use, that I think that also it puts even more pressure on these chains to have a, you know, just make it seamless, have a complete suite of offerings so that someone, you know, they're not looking to go elsewhere for their perp trading. I did shout out to Smart Dumb Man over in the abstract chat. Appreciate you. Shared that Intern Bra tweeted these list of these 50 apps that I got on screen yesterday. So there are certainly apps on Monad. I'll read through some of them here, but yeah, and I also pinned this up top for anyone who wants to dive deeper. And I saw Ben join us. Ben, we'll go to you next. You know, so there's you can trade spot, you know, on-chain perps, on-chain stocks, leverage sports prediction market parlays, fully on-chain perps, crypto Pokemon Go, social media prediction market, on-chain MMO, DEX aggregator, RWAs for Asian yield, lend, borrow, get yields, swarm interference AI, something that's censored. Oh, that looks like OnlyFans type of deal, I'm guessing. Nope, maybe not. I don't know. Earn while you stream, prop AMM, trade spot and perps, smart glasses, sappy seal game, launch a coin, boosted LP yields, protect your IP, yield marketplace, stake your mon, touch to predict prices. It's interesting. Trench with friends, trading terminal, mobile trading, trade NFTs, social and mini apps, the OG DEX and token launcher, lend, borrow, and more, easy AMMs, swaps and yields, tasty DEX, modular DeFi, efficient trading routes, launch custom markets, launch a token, very stable, much wow, stables and yield bearing stables, bridge to monad, token analytics. So, you know, and you know, bubble maps, depth screener, layer 0, wormhole, USDC, like a lot of these kind of table stakes, I would say, for chains nowadays, but certainly more than I thought. Some of these, you know, OG well-known, you know, from Uniswaps to Curve to Pancake Swap, Magic Eden, and very known commodities in the space. Looking at like what's different, what makes Monad, like all that stuff, again, table stakes, I feel. What makes Monad different? You know, maybe some of these newer dApps are better. You know, maybe Crypto Pokemon Go, this Loot Go official, is a smash hit. I don't know. Maybe their on-chain stocks ends up capturing a big chunk of that market. Let's go. I'll go to Ben first with the question. I'm curious, Oxy and Joey, same response. Ben, before you feel free to take it wherever you'd like after the question. But as I just read through that list, my first question for you is: any of these dApps excite you? Is there anything? Oh, I can't wait to go check that out. Or Joey mentioned the Rare Bet Sports. I actually did check out Rare Bet Sports. I did it on testnet. I just can't get down with testnet stuff that does nothing for me. Like to rack up a bunch of points on a leaderboard that it means literally nothing and goes away once they go to mainnet. It just doesn't excite me at all. So I checked it out and then went away. I may go check it out again once they're on mainnet and it's actually like putting some capital at risk and potentially win something. But Ben, does anything jump off this list? Anything speak to you? Anything you're excited about on Monad? And then what? Feel free to take it wherever you'd like. GM, sir.
GM, God, thanks for having me here, man. Dope space as usual. Loving the call, man. Actually, I'm gonna be straight up honest. None of it excited me, unfortunately. And going back to a couple points that you and Joey made, I love Joey for his point. Like, I'll touch it. Like you said, that blockchain feels like it has been commoditized to an extent, right? Anyone can just drop it. You can have 2K and you can go on this website. I don't remember the name. The one they used that first to launch the Ape Chain testnet. I'm not even sure if that's the infra they still kept on running on. But like it's super commoditized, right? 15 minutes 2K, you got your own L2 somewhere. And like Joey said, like was asking like, what are they actually doing differently? What are they actually solving? And I think that reflecting on that, it feels like a lot of blockchains are running based on the incentive of pushing the parameters of existing solutions higher. So more throughput, more dApps, less seconds, like less fees, all that stuff. And then there is an incentive game in which builders are getting funded, and that's an incentive to go work for something. And you have the investors that want to make money, and then you have the creators that help push that, like, and most creators in the space like have been pushing different things that catch people attention rightfully, but like if you look at the game, it's just a pattern that keeps on repeating. And the question that you guys ask, how are they going to retain users? And we've seen many of these businesses happening over and over again. And it feels like there is nothing new. No new problem is being solved. For instance, Coinbase solved a new problem with X402. That's a real problem that wasn't tackled. And until this day, we didn't have a true internet native way of requesting payments. And they just solved that in partnership with Cloudflare. Like you have a huge liquidity fragmentation problem. The more blockchains get deployed, more you have liquidity fragmentation across chains. Who's actually solving like that real problem? So like, I feel like all of these is exciting, is nice for the space, but they aren't must-haves. They are nice to haves from a tech perspective, from a vibes perspective for people to quote unquote have fun. I do think they are must-haves. And they do bring excitement and hope to the ecosystem. So there is a role to play there. But yeah, being very cold on my analysis, I don't think problems are being solved there.
Real quick, Ben, I want to go back. We haven't even talked about 402s yet on this space. I've seen it. I think I started seeing some good threads on it when we were in Vegas last week for Ape Fest. I meant to hit on it yesterday and it slipped my mind. We don't have to go deep on it. We'll continue the Monad MegaETH / blockchain conversation. But real quick, for those that maybe that's the first time they're hearing about 402s, can you just give us like, what's the TLDR? What are 402s and what are they solving?
Okay, so basically,
if you don't mind,
before 402s, whenever people wanted to have a proper integration with a payment processing infra on the internet, they had to go through a bunch of steps from registering the business until getting the API keys from Stripe or PayPal or whatever other payment processor of your choice. Now, with this X402, you can just like spend 30 minutes, 1 hour integrating with it. Literally, like they give you a repo with everything you need to just start accepting payments, and it just works out of the box Like I was playing around with it for like half an hour and buying books from my merchant store, paying $1 on base testnet. And I was super impressed because I got that done in like literally 30 minutes. And I had never read anything before on it. So I was just intrigued because they said, hey, this totally replaces the need to go use PayPal and all that stuff if you're processing payments. And I think that's a huge unlock for the ecosystem when it comes to payment processing, because at the end of the day, we want businesses to happen here, but it cannot just be everyone with their own fragmented implementation. So I think these not only provides a solution, but is also unified in a way that others can go and build on top.
Agreed. Well said. Appreciate you sharing that. I'll pin this up top for you. I found a kind of a summary from Mishi here. And to add to what Ben just said, another big thing why this matters is because the web is shifting from humans clicking to agents transacting. Thousands of AI agents already running workflows, fetching data, analyzing content, connecting APIs. Soon they'll also pay for compute, storage, APIs, and other services, but they can't type credit card numbers, confirm PayPal pop-ups, or log into billing portals. They need machine native payment layer, and that's exactly what X402 provides. It's not blockchain, it's not token. It's a small change to the web that could enable a huge new economy. Companies like Cloudflare, Coinbase, Google, and Visa are already integrating it. So yeah, big, actually a pretty big deal. We talk about how much better the tech has gotten and the underlying infrastructure. This is a big one, and it may not make your tokens pump, may not make number go up, but as far as onboarding the masses without them even knowing it and just making things, it's just like, it's really bringing Web 2 into this Web 3 world, and most won't even know about it. Ben, go ahead and get back in here and continue your conversation.
Yeah, like I ain't gonna lie, Kev, to my surprise, DGens figured out how to make money out of 402s. So there is a 402 mat on base. Of course, one should definitely question, hey, what's the real utility of all these things? But yeah, DGens did figure out a way to make it a fun game over at base. So yeah, everyone is trying to literally figure out what you are saying. And I think there is a huge use case towards that data thing. So for instance, in healthcare, there is a huge problem of who owns data, how you provide access to data, and how you reward people for providing access to data. I guess, for instance, for companies that are developing systems that are studying a specific disease and they need to access a paid data set. So that would fit perfectly with what you were saying. So like, I think that's the vision of the future. We'll have more AI integrated with the right sources to help them supercharge their development, probably AI, robotics, and all that. I see those two industries benefiting a lot from this protocol, as you were saying.
Yeah, I agree. Very, very, very much so. Well said. And thanks for the update. Sorry for the digression. Feel free if you wanted to take it another direction or you had a thought to finish there, feel free to do so, and then we'll go to Joey.
No, I'm actually super curious to hear what Joey got to say, because he always got the good hot takes.
All right, let's do it. Joey, GM.
Yeah. So something you mentioned, Ben, was like customer retention, essentially, right? Like, how do these chains keep users on their chain? And in this space, we've seen OpenSea with their rewards program. We've seen Erect with their drink points, and everybody in the space seems so critical of these loyalty rewards programs. They're too long, they're farming, they're etc. Is there a world where a blockchain, outside of just distributing free money, like obviously this Monad TGE, right? It's like they're just distributing free money. Outside of distributing free money, is there a world where we see a blockchain develop some type of reward system that isn't farming? Because I just don't know how you keep people on your chain without rewarding them for staying on your chain. So a question to anybody, right? Like, do we just need better reward systems? Are reward systems not going to work in this space? Like, how do you convince somebody to use a perp dex on Monad versus without? Obviously, right now we have Project X, right? And everyone's using Project X for liquidity pools because they assume there's a Project X TGE coming, right? Like, so outside of TGEs and free money, like, how do you keep people? How do we find a reward system that keeps people on a specific chain versus just chain hopping for the next TGE?
Well, we'll go back to Ben here to his response. My thoughts is a loyalty rewards program should be just that. I think we conflate them here a little bit with like customer acquisition campaigns as opposed to loyalty rewards programs. And then again, the reality is they're both, but it's like what we talked about earlier with MegaETH for instance, and their Mega Mafia in not just investing capital in those teams, but investing time and energy and resources and connecting the builders and making it feel like home. We spent a lot of time yesterday talking about NFTs, NFT communities, and whether whether floor price goes up or down, there's some of these NFT communities are just going to continue to exist because of the relationships that have been built there, because of the communities that have been built there. It's real community. It may be it may get overused in this space, and there's a lot of non-real communities, but I think that is a way to build a sticky loyalty rewards program is build a place, build an environment that people want to hang out, that people want to be, and then the rewards are just a perk and a bonus, not the reason they're there. I understand it at pre-TGE and shortly thereafter, like it's almost table stakes in the sense that if you're not rewarding them with some sort of financial incentives, they're going to go to a chain that will, but that's just short-lived. I mean, we saw this play out with Blast. If that's all you've got is a big bag of gold that converts to a Blast token at TGE and no other support, or there's nothing else there, there's no other reason, there's nothing that differentiates you from other chains, well, you're going to see people leave at some point. So, Ben, go ahead and get back in here. Answer
real quick, Cap, for the community thing you mentioned. So, do you think the fluffle strategy of MegaETH, where they're like, hey, we're going to mint these fluffles, they're only going to go to handpicked people, and that kind of started that community on MegaETH? Do you think that that's a strategy we should be seeing other blockchains employ?
I mean, I'm biased. Yes, I think it's a good strategy. I think the other thing that I appreciate I think that MegaETH is doing that I think is good is raising from the community like this. Whereas we talk about, we're not a big fans of the long drawn out farms. I would much rather do something like with MegaETH, where I minted a fluffle 9 months ago. I didn't have to farm anything, but I said, hey, this is a team I want to support. I don't want to go do a bunch of testnet transactions. I want to be, I do want to participate when the chain goes live. I'd like to support you now. I'd like to get 1 foot in the community. I'm just not a farmer or a grinder or someone that's going to go spend a bunch of time on doing a bunch of testnet transactions and do nothing. But I want to support, I want to participate. One way to support, one way to invest in that community is mint a fluffle, which is essentially a pre-sale allocation. And now for the last 9 months, that's been in the back of my head, like, oh, I'm rooting for them. And then so I pay more attention to what they're doing. So yeah, I think, I like I know people like free money, and like at the end of the day, there's a world there. It's in the range of outcomes that I get more of an allocation of Mon in US dollars. I get a larger US dollar allocation for Monad and their token than I do for MegaETH for buying a fluffle. Like that could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Personally, this is my personal journey. Monad, please don't listen and take away my allocation. Please don't nerf me. I still am my bias is going to lean towards MegaETH. Even if I get a bigger allocation for free just for being here, as opposed to investing in another protocol, I literally figuratively vested in the success of that chain. And at the end of the day, it should just be dollars and cents, but I've been paying more attention. I'm closer. I know what's going on more because again, it's like, it's the same analogy. Like they'll say like a kid will take better care of their car if they are responsible for paying some of it than if you just give them a car. I don't know. Does that make any sense, Joey?
No, it makes total sense. I mean, I think we paid whatever it was, like $2,600 for a fluffle without any expectation of it being a 5x, a 10x, a 20x. We just assumed it would get us some type of allocation. And we all kept paying attention to what they were doing. when could we get a free mint on testnet, or when could we get a free mint on ETH, right, to continue to support the chain, and what should we be doing? And it got us committed. And that's why I was asking, because you kept mentioning community, and I thought to myself, like, how do you build a community around a blockchain, right? Like, blockchain is just infrastructure. So like, where does that community come from? And then I was like, well, if you handpick your initial supporters, like they did with the Fluffles, of people you believe that are, people that you believe that will support you, and you ask them for a small financial commitment, that's how you build a community, right? Like, and I it's interesting that nobody else has gone that route. I mean, we saw, what was the one that just minted that went crazy? Hyperfur, right? Like, they got those after the fact, right? Like, they waited until they, it was based on, I guess, your activity, and so they got it after the fact. But I do like the strategy that MegaETH did with Fluffle, and I'd love to hear what obviously Ben and then Von Frunten have to say about it too, because they're both big into community building.
Yeah, Ben, go ahead and get back in here, and then we'll bring in Von Frunten.
Sir, so yeah, I think it's very interesting as a strategy to experiment towards that. And even it's a huge contrast with Monad's approach, which was way wider. I think MegaETH's approach of community building was a lot more curated. And I think there is a higher ratio of signal coming from the people that are a voice to the community. No, I mean, nothing against Monad. I love them. I think they're building some dope tech as well. But yeah, the community building approach from MegaETH, I think, seems better so far. But as far as like, how do you make people stay on a chain? I guess an interesting question is like, should the chain be solving the problem of attracting the people or attracting the right and best builders, right? Because I guess like Solana Foundation wasn't waving any airdrop bag throughout the last 3 years, and people still went to build on Solana. Why? I think they are trying to focus on builders more, like having a good business development strategy, but also they have been supporting
Ben,
a lot.
Can I ask, do you mean building on Solana now or building on Solana years ago?
I think still today, like we see builders getting supported on Solana, and we see builders that are building for Solana infrastructure innovate a lot in ways that can attract other builders. Like for instance, Helios, they just like upgraded their infra, and right now you couldn't do like historical transaction parsing in one query versus thousands that you had to do throughout all these years. So I think till this day, they are not being complacent. They are innovating a lot. But I might be biased here. I don't know. What's your take on it?
Well, the reason why I ask is because previously everybody was building on Solana because of like, the transaction cost, right? It was like, well, we can't build on ETH because it's so expensive. So let's go build on Solana where, it's pennies per transaction. So that's why I was curious if you were referring to like people building on Solana years ago before we had all these L2s, or if you're referring to building on Solana now. Like, what is the attraction to build on Solana now versus L2s on ETH, where 3-4 years ago you'd build on Solana because ETH was too expensive and all these L2s didn't exist?
That's a fair question. I think like from a retail perspective, before bringing some TradFi points, like I think retail is majority on Solana. So like if you are seeking volume or a lot of people, a lot of eyes on your product, I think Solana is still one of the best places to build. Like I see the core teams, they're like being very supportive of people trying to innovate and build dope stuff. And yeah, that has translated in a few products coming out there that were even making more money than the chain itself in fees, at least for a minute. You have Fun, you have other products there that were quite successful. And now even with the perp waves, we're seeing that catch up a little bit on Solana. So I guess at the end of the day, like you really have to pick and choose. You have trade-offs that are huge. For instance, on Solana, you don't have extensibility of software. You need to compose around things, as opposed to EVM, where you can literally grab a ERC20 protocol, extend it, and Uniswap will still allow you to transact that. But Radium and Jupiter, on the other hand, won't. So it depends on what you're building and what are your priorities as a builder. There is no one absolute chain that satisfies every single needs. You kind of need to pick and choose with trade-offs.
Yeah, I really good conversation. Appreciate y'all jumping up and sharing with me, helping think through this morning. Von Prep, we're going to go to you. I did share and it's kind of, I pinned it up top, so it's probably easier to see up top. It's the font's kind of funky, but it's a X402. Explain it like I'm 5. For anyone that wanted to get deeper on that payment process, and I just, since we hit on that, I did pin up. I pinned up that up top for the deeper explanation. Any nerds out there want to learn more about payment processing on the interwebs? That also pinned up that bra 50 things to try on Monad. Von Prep, GM, sir, always a pleasure.
Hey, GM. No, I wanted to go back. We were talking about like loyalty and rewards, and like how do you actually get people to stay? And so you took a little bit of my thunder, Cap, because the concept around user acquisition versus loyalty and rewards and how those are two very different things is where I was going to start. So I do think that's a very important distinction to make, because like I'll say it, like I don't know if Web3 has actually seen at scale what I would consider true loyalty and rewards, right? Where, because if you think about like, sales and marketing funnel, loyalty and rewards are bottom of the funnel type of stuff, right? You've already learned about it, you've already engaged with it, you've already bought, and now I'm trying to get you to stay, right? So all this stuff, like even brand coins, rec drinks, every single farm that's out there, every single TGE, those are not loyalty rewards. That is top of the funnel to get you from not using their product to using their product. And then what's going to come next is, okay, now that you've used my product, how do I make it sticky? How do I turn you from a one-time customer into a repeat customer? And I don't know if we've actually seen that yet because, we're still a pretty young market here in Web3. So I'll be interested to see what they do. I mean, I look at what the rest of the world does with loyalty and rewards, right? And I know we like to use like, airline miles and hotel points as examples. So I'll keep doing that, right? But like I just flew some Delta flights to and from Vegas, right? Like, look, the Delta experience, I'm sure if I were to fly United or American, here in the States, I'm sure it's just about the same, right? Like, I'm sure the planes are not that much better, right? Maybe I have, warm fuzzies about Delta because I've been there for so long, but the planes are, they're all shopping Airbuses and Boeings. They're all putting Wi-Fi and screens in the headrest. Like, it's all about the same, right? But I'm not going to go back to Delta because I have a full year of status next year that I would be wasting by starting over and going somewhere else where I would be back in row 33 middle seat again, trying to work my way up. And I think that's the thing that we don't see is it is still so easy, right? I can go in, I can go farm Monad or MegaETH, or maybe not MegaETH, but I can farm something for 90 days. I can get the thing, and then there's no reason for me to stick around. And then the next thing pops up and I can just as easily start over and go farm that thing, right? Like there's no incentive to keep me as a customer than to go farm the next thing. And so I think I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's a staking mechanism. I don't know if it's a like, you can double the value. You can, I know Magic Eden tried the whole staking thing, didn't exactly work. Part of this is you have to still build a product people want to use. But like we talk about loyalty and rewards a lot. I don't know for a Web3 native product like a DEX, like an exchange, like a wallet, like whatever. I actually don't think we've actually seen true loyalty and rewards. I think we've just seen user acquisition strategies on loop. And that's why we can bounce from one to the other so quickly because there's really no reason to stay.
Yeah, it's a good take. And I think you're right. I think we call them loyalty rewards programs. Most of them are customer acquisition vehicles. And like staking has been the attempt, to your point. I think that's been the attempt at ongoing rewards, ongoing loyalties. Hey, stake your tokens and we'll give you those extra perks. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the end state. I don't think that's where we land. Relative on topic, I just re-downloaded MetaMask on my iPhone because they kicked off. Speaking of loyalty rewards programs, they kicked off their reward season 1 with 30 million in Linea rewards, both for OGs and new users. I've not went through it yet. Like I said, I literally right on the show, I re-downloaded the MetaMask to iOS. And it's not just because I had shifted to Rabby. I had stopped doing crypto on mobiles a while ago, minus some, a Phantom wallet for some degen trenching. I operate almost exclusively off desktop, and but the part of the requirement for that season 1 rewards is you gotta opt in through their iOS app or Android. Actually, Android coming soon. But yeah, I think you nailed it. I think a lot of the quote unquote loyalty rewards programs, they're really ongoing customer acquisition vehicles, and I think it's maybe safe to say that the chain or the protocol that actually nails this, actually solves for, and there are others out there, right? I'm not trying to short anyone. We've talked about the Flow rewards program on the show. That might be the closest, because I don't see people farming that, but I do see people, I just want a PlayStation for my loyalty. I just want an iPad for my loyalty. Are there farmers there? Sure. I think there's probably gonna be farmers there's people that farm airline rewards programs probably to some degree. But yeah, Von Front, and I think you nailed it, that these are two different things, but yet the space likes to call them the same here. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, like, granted, I'm deep into sales and marketing funnels because I'm working on building one myself. So like that's where my brain goes to. It's where my brain went to. I think we talked about this with ApeFest, about the difference between ApeFest the party and BAYC at ComplexCon, right? Both marketing spends, two very different kind of purposes and KPIs around that. Yep. So I think that's the thing, right? And to be honest, like, we've Steve has talked about this ad nauseum. Blockchain really opens up the ability to do some really cool things with loyalty and rewards, just given the nature of the technology. I can't wait to see something that actually builds like this, right? I mean, hell, I may build it myself, but it's like, I think this is like, it's a really, really cool area. I just don't think we're there yet. And because we're such a financially driven ecosystem here, like, it's going to be like, I think it's, to be honest, I think it's going to be hard, right? People, the rest of the world, winning an iPad, winning a MacBook is like top tier prize. You tell somebody here they're winning an iPad, they're like they're going to flood it, right? Because it wasn't a 5-figure airdrop, or it wasn't something big, because of how financialized and how outsized the rewards in this place are. So I think it's going to be a challenge if you're building for Web3. But I do hope people keep pushing in this space, because I do think that what you can do with technology in this space unlocks a lot more than your kind of traditional, airline miles program.
I agree. It's like it's going to happen. Like, I'm convinced it's going to happen. I can't remember the name of the company. I want to say Blue something that's in the restaurant space. That I use the example. My buddy was traveling, I think, in Denver, and he got $90 back for just crediting his account. Do you remember this one, Front? Do you remember what company I'm talking about?
Oh, the restaurant one. No, I know the one you're talking about. I looked into them. I forget the name of it, but yes, it was but again, like, that was a web. They were using blockchain to build a loyalty and rewards program in Web 2, right? And yes, that's where I think the most product market fit's going to be with this, because you have a user consumer base who $90 back is something they text their friends about, of how amazing that is. But you can use the technology to really make that kind of hum in a way that you can't with other non-blockchain techs. I'm really interested to see if you can build this for a Web3 product for a crypto native community in a way that's meaningful and sustainable. I think that if somebody can build, like, figure out that product market fit and in a way that you don't have to keep throwing $10,000 at people every single time just to make them, to keep them using your product, that'll be a really fun unlock for all of us.
And that's, I think, where lies the big problem is people get really excited, people get really hyped, people do the actions you want them to take pre-TGE for like that one big allocation, right? And then those blockchains will continue very similar programs. Used Magic as an example, but it just, after TGE hits, the interest, the excitement in that ongoing farm, even though it may be equal to or same amount of tokens over the course of a time, it almost 90% falls off. Now, part of it may be price goes down, people become less interested, and they start doing math, and they don't think it's worth their time. But there's something psychological that people will do something for the unknown in a larger bucket of unknown than they will after they discover exactly what it is. And it's going to come, instead of one big unknown reward that came after a year of effort, as opposed to, every month or every quarter I can get a small reward that may add up to the same or even more for my amount of time and capital put. But there's definitely a psychological drop off there. And honestly, I think part of it is, we'll blame the chains, the protocols, and the people that are building these rewards programs, is they don't really differentiate the two. It's their acquisition campaign is largely the same as their reward campaign, and they are different things. They're very different things, in fact. And I think more than just the token would be a step in the right direction. C-Flow, for example, and what they're doing with their rewards protocol. Let's go back to Joey, and then we'll get Oxy back in here. Joey, go ahead.
Yeah, I also wanted to say Von Frutten's breakdown was spot on. Great job. And one of the things he said too, which we always say in this space, which is even what we've been critical of Abstract for, which is you have to have a reason for people to want to come there, right? We've talked about this when it comes to Web3 gaming, like you have to, no matter what you offer people, if there isn't something sticky that makes people want to come back and play, use, participate, none of that really matters, because you're going to get that initial farming pump and then everyone's going to disappear. Again, I'm pretty sure Blast is still building, but they're a perfect example of, there was nothing over there that really kept people beyond the initial excitement and TGE pump, etc. So Von Frutten said it, build something that people actually want to use and build a community around it, and then they'll keep coming back.
Yeah, I agree. Gary in the chat also says the problem is we have two types of people: investors and users. They are not always the same. Users see airdrop as liquidity. Investors see the airdrop as sell pressure. It's a tough problem to solve. I agree. It is. Not only are we talking about differentiating customer acquisition programs versus reward loyalty programs, you also are talking, you've got those two programs for two very different types of people. Now, there's crossover there. Some of the users are investors and vice versa, but someone that's farming $100 testnet transactions, very different than someone that's throwing 7, 8, 9 figures of liquidity onto a chain to get things started. Oxy, go ahead and get back in here.
Yeah, and you guys may have touched on this a little bit, but like speaking to maybe just the chain and not the reward program as much, but in like having like chains and how they get people to come back. I think this ties into what Brett says when he talks about the fat app thesis. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but the way that I understand his process is, if a chain invests incredibly heavily into the apps that are being built on top of the chain, that's the stickiness. 99% of the people in this space in Web3 don't give a shit what chain it's on. If the app is good, if the trading perp is good, or the swap is good, or whatever it is, they don't care about the chain that it's on. If the app is good, it works, it's sticky, then people are going to come back to that app, and then that's where the stickiness for the chain comes in. Not because the chain is giving out gold to this. I mean, I don't want to basically a lot of the apps on Blast were relatively shallow. To be honest, I like they're pretty shallow apps. They weren't super in depth. They're sticky or whatever. There's obviously a couple of them. Fantasy Top is great. BG is great. There's some apps that were good,
So let's.
but a lot of them were shallow.
Can we pause there though? Because
Yeah,
Fantasy Top, they hit. They found product market. BZ, they hit.
absolutely.
So while a lot of them lack depth, they had at least two that I'll be surprised if they're not a going concern in 5 years from now. Like they had two that made it and they failed to keep them. Like where did Blast fail? Because they did attract them. What went wrong? Where did Blast fail that Monad or MegaETH could do different? Because you just named two very viable, great consumer apps that I think a lot of chains would love to have at this point. So, and Blast had
absolutely.
But what could they do differently? What did they do wrong for as it relates to those two?
Yeah, and like going back to like MegaETH and Brett's just viewpoint on how important apps are. So I don't know the mechanics. I don't think anyone outside of the Blast or the Blast team, the MegaETH team, knows. But I think they're going to be incentivizing apps heavily, I think that where it's going to get complicated is like, okay, they're going to incentivize the apps have to incentivize the users. I think where it might, I think people use Hyperliquid right now. There's a potential for another airdrop, but I think for the most part, they're using Hyperliquid because it's a good app that works and is easy to understand.
Yep.
I think the airdrop is secondary at this point, which is like, that's the stickiest app in the space, to be honest with you. I don't think there's another one that does a better job at just being a good app and people use it because it's a good app. So if MegaETH puts enough time and effort into these teams to get the quality that they need to build those types of apps, and then they incentivize them through, whether it's like, I know like Blast near the end of its cycle was like, oh, we're going to kick back some of the gas fees that you guys incurred on behalf of people using it or whatever. Like that was the very end of their life cycle. But like things like that incentivize people to stay there, I think is where it's going to be really important. And I think Brett is already thinking about this stuff. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but when you focus on apps and the builders of those apps and how to incentivize them and encouraging them to stay, which I think they're doing, I don't know all the mechanics, but I think that's what's going to be really important for the longevity of these chains.
Yeah, I agree. Well said. Let's go back to Joey for an answer, and then we got Drew joined us as well. Excited to get Drew in here. Joey, go ahead.
There, as a company that did build on Blast initially because of the benefits of being part of, like, I can't remember what the Blast competition was called, and the allocation which we were able to use, that gold allocation which we were able to use to bring in users, and now having moved to Flow, which we felt had the better infrastructure for our company. To your point, Oxy, attracting teams that want to be there and then providing those teams with the tools they need to grow their business is very important. When the decision to leave Blast for us to move to Flow was because of the ability for us to integrate things like credit cards and debit cards and Apple Pay and Google Pay, and all of these Web2 payment solutions that didn't exist on Blast yet. And to your point, you can throw a bunch of money at Fantasy Top or whoever to come over to your chain, but if you're not continuing to work with those builders to give them what they need, or not give, but help them with what they need to continue to grow their business, they're not going to stay. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways for any blockchain is, don't just throw money at some dApp to come there and expect that they're going to stay, unless you're going to commit to them long term and give them the support they need, which is obviously difficult because obviously human bodies are numbered, right? You don't have thousands of people to help thousands of dApps. But that was just to expand on what you said about the support part. That was one of the main reasons why we did move, is because we needed those Web2 integrations, which we couldn't get on Blast.
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier, like some of this stuff's table stakes. You mentioned like the tech. I'm not defending them, but in their defense, that the infrastructure tech is just, it's better. It's easier today. It's better today. That it's easier to get going for these chains than it was back when Blast was launching, right? We've made, even in the last year, made leaps and bounds advancements on that front. But I do think that all that stuff is really, if you really want to build a competitive chain, that's minimum requirements. Those are minimum table stakes. If we listen to 50 dApps that are already live on, or will be live on Monad, you almost have to, and I'm not saying it's exactly all those, but you got to have all that stuff sorted out. You got to have the tools, the resources to your builders can build everything they need to build that they get on other chains. I think you do need to probably incentivize them with some token allocation or some funding out of the jump. And then in addition to that, you need to make them feel important. You need to build those relationships. You need to make sure that they're not just building in a silo, but yet they're part of the builder community. And again, not to keep going back to it, but I think that is for a pre-launch chain, that's what I'm seeing MegaETH do as good or better than anyone I've seen since I've been here over the last 4 or 5 years. Ravi taking shots, I got to share because I mentioned the MetaMask rewards program, to which Ravi says, helping users become better farmers or just farming the users. Appreciate a good singer in the morning. The other thing I wanted to flash up here real quick, since we were having the MegaETH Monad conversation, good chart here from Jacob. It's talks about core positioning, Monad high performance, EVM compatible layer 1, focused on boosting TPS while maintaining full compatibility and with existing Ethereum applications. MegaETH, on the other hand, is an ultra parallelized execution environment that redefines EVM semantics to support large-scale on-chain computation. All this stuff gets really technical. You talk about TPS target, Monad's targeting 10,000 plus TPS, while focused on on-chain, or focused on optimizing single-chain throughput, whereas MegaETH is targeting 50,000 TPS or more, theoretically unbounded, limited by hardware and DAG complexibility. Again, really technical stuff here, but if you are a nerd and want to read further into the future of scalability, this is a good comprehensive landscape of Web3 parallel computing from Jacob here. So that is, I think I pinned it up top. If not, I'll go get it now. Did I miss a hand? I think Oxy, were you wanting to get back in here, or did we get all of our hands?
Drew had it. Oh, Drew left.
Yeah, we lost.
I was gonna say Drew had it.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm sorry, what was that, Oxy?
Yeah, I'm all good. I think we covered it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love that Ravi post though. That's classic.
Yeah. We will. Monad day 2 boxes are live. I will. We'll wind down the show here in a bit with open mine on stream to see you guys can help me give me some good luck today on the Monad box, or the Monad box reveal.
24 hours left in the MegaETH token presale.
Yes, good call. 24 hours left for anyone that wanted to participate in that hasn't done so yet. 24 hours left. I think I saw they have over 700 million subscribed on a 50,000 or 50 million raise. So crushing the oversubscription there.
Does anybody understand how that, because it's a what they call it? It's not a Dutch auction. It's an American auction,
English.
right? Like you're supposed to bid. It's not just like, oh, I allocate 50 grand, right? Like you have to allocate 50 grand at a certain price, and then based on that determines who gets, like, how does that work?
Yes. And there's a lot that goes into the actual determining the allocation based on your social, your on-chain history, because it is oversubscribed. So, but basically anyone who commits the minimum, which was around $2,500, whatever the initial amount of USD in that Fluffle sale was, anyone who commits at least that, you get something. You'll also be able to participate in their season 1. They're not calling it this, but their loyalty rewards program. To participate in that loyalty rewards program, you must have participated in the first season. So I kind of like how they're moving here with this. I will say, I think there's maybe some free money on Polymarket today related to this. Don't blind Apely, but you can probably keep an eye on it. It's already up another 5% on the day, but the Polymarket on how much total will be committed in this public sale. Over 1 billion is at 95% chance. Like I said, I think it's up over 700 million. And typically, the last day is when you see the big money pour into these things. That's when you see the whales. I mean, if someone's putting, actually the top amount was just a little under 200K. It was the speed of light, 186,000, I think. If a lot of people that are pumping, nearly 200K of liquidity into this, they're probably waiting until the final day so that they, wherever they got their stables parked today and earning their yield, they're probably going to want to continue to do that until they can't anymore. So I think this is a lock to go over this amount today, but there is a chance it doesn't hit. But potentially, if that gets close, you maybe keep an eye on the poly market. I'm assuming once it gets 950 plus million that this becomes like 99%. But if it stays around 95%, you can get a little some free poly market action there. Maybe 1, 2 keep an eye on. I'm not sure if Myriad or any of the others have this particular market, but thought worth sharing nevertheless. What else? Before I do my monad claim, anything else? We'll go to our members on stage. Anything else in the news today? Anything else on any of your minds that we haven't yet touched on this morning?
I'm not sure if you spoke about these already, but like Western Union building on Solana and launching their own stablecoin, considering that they are present in over 150 countries around the world, like solving money remittance problems in Latin America, Africa, Asia, and a bunch of places. I think that's huge, not just for Solana, but for Web3 overall, because like having a TradFi player that big come into the ecosystem, I think it's a huge W, and it shows that blockchain is here to stay and real builders are here solving some dope stuff. So yeah.
Heck yeah, no, I missed this. Thanks for sharing. I got it pulled up here now, the announcement coming from the official Solana account. Western Union announces USDPT stablecoin on Solana and digital asset network. Leveraging Solana and Anchorage Digital. Western Union aims to redefine how the world moves money. The Western Union company announced today it plans to launch US dollar payment token, its new stablecoin, and innovative digital asset network designed to bridge the digital and fiat worlds, enabling real world utility for digital assets. Built on Solana and issued by Anchorage Digital Bank, Western Union aims to launch USDPT, expanding the ways to move money for customers, agents, partners, and support the company's treasury capabilities. This is a really big one, I think. Excuse my hit.
Yeah, 100%. And the fact that it's backed by the Anchor Bank makes it huge, because like one of the key questions would be like, would these get proper green light? And with the Genius Act from last July 2025, which stands for Global Economic Nexus for Innovation in US Stablecoins, like they pretty much brought up clarity on everything regarding reserves, audits, licensing. So these will be compliant day one. No SEC or CFTC shadow boxing like pre-2025 chaos.
Yeah, I was just doing some, obviously Western Union, publicly traded company. If you're somehow not familiar, it's one of maybe the most used global way to just transfer funds across borders. If you go in, I think Walmart is all Western Union. Maybe they have their own money thing now, but a lot of immigrants will transfer money back to their families in other countries by way of Western Union. Fees are anywhere from $1 up to over $100, I believe. I'm not a big Western Union consumer, but I'm just doing some quick. So for the full year in 2024, they reported revenue of approximately 4.2 billion. Digital money transfer revenue alone surpassed 850 million on total revenue of 4.8. One article: non-bank money transfer companies process around 2.2 trillion in annual currency transfer. According to Q1, Western Union processed about 25 billion in cross-border principal in the quarter, while Western Union's revenue is known. The precise annual transfer values, the total amount of money moved through their system, is harder to isolate from public disclosures. The 25 billion in one quarter suggests that perhaps around 100 billion annually in principal transferred for that segment. That doesn't necessarily cover all channels, regions. So, I mean, sounds like on the low end, around 100 billion annually in transferred money for Western Union, and it's a big deal. I think this is another example of the world coming on chain. It's just better. Now, do they pass the fee savings on to their end users, or do they make more margins? I don't know, TBD. But I don't believe this will be the last announcement like this we see. Interesting, they went Solana. I think this is probably one of the bigger wins for Solana in terms of these, say TradFi payment processors or banking institutions, like whatever. Like a lot of, we've seen Avalanche has had a lot of wins recently on the stablecoin side and this sort of stuff. So I think this is big for Web3. I think it's also a notable win for Solana. Joey, go ahead. Thoughts on this?
I mean, Western Union was the original blockchain, if you think about it, right? Like they gave you the ability to walk into any, cashier's check store or grocery store and instantly send money to your family across the country, in another country, or to even pay a bill. Like if you had cash, because this is, going back before we had credit cards and online payments, you could actually pay your bills with Western Union. You could walk in, give them cash, and then they would send your money into your, whatever bill you were paying. Like it really was the original blockchain. Like if you think about it, the idea of being able to transfer money instantly, anywhere, anytime. And now the fact that they're coming on chain, it seems poetic almost.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking we were going to have a Western Union poetic conversation today, but here we are. And yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know, like, I'm tracking with you. I'm trying to think of a better analogy than first blockchain, but certainly as it relates to payments.
Well, but if you think about it, right? Like if you walked into a Western Union in Tampa and said, I want to send $500 to my family in California, right? Like that Western Union took your $500 and then called whatever they did on a phone call or whatever, the Western Union in California, and was like, hey, it's the $500 is clear, hand $500 to, Uncle Chris in a matter of minutes, right? Like that was the network they created, which is not very different than what we're doing now with crypto and blockchain.
Certainly on the payment side, I agree. Yeah, good take. And this announcement here, I got pulled up on the screen as well. They are saying they are the world's largest money transfer business. That was my assumption, but I wasn't certain of that. I will take Solana at their word here. They are a big mover of monies internationally, and I think it's also another, like, I think this should just be the norm. I think there's a future where this becomes USDPT becomes their primary way they transfer funds when they're moving funds across borders. Go ahead, Ben. I got a few other Solana posts I'll share here in a minute as you talk through this, but go ahead and get back in here.
Yeah, like again, sorry for bringing another poetic side of it. One thing I think is beautiful about it is that blockchain, one of the core fundamentals is that it's gonna decentralize things and bring more fair opportunities and products to people overall in the world. And although like in countries that are as developed as the US and many countries here in Europe, is not as impactful as in countries down south. But for instance, a country like Cape Verde receives over 30% of its money that counts towards GDP from money remittance. Literally, people that are out here in Europe, in the US, and different places sending money back home. And a huge portion of that is literally facilitated by Western Union. So like they are a key business for the survival of many families in certain countries because of, hey, that it's the dynamic that was formed, right? And these countries kind of depend on their people outside. So looking at Western Union come into blockchain and leverage actual blockchain for that makes me extra bullish because it kind of realigns a lot of the building that has been happening in our ecosystem with the core fundamentals that inspired us to create something this powerful.
Yeah.
Someone in the war room said this is bearish for XRP fans.
Yeah, probably. I would agree. Big day, big week for Solana. This Western Union deal is a big deal. I agree. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for on-chain payments. It's a big deal for Solana because it's in several of the language. If you saw me going through the Solana feed here, using language like exclusively working with Solana, like this is a big win for Solana. Solana saying the biggest news today wasn't Grayscale or Western Union. We'll talk about Grayscale and the Sol ETF, which goes live today or tomorrow. That Sol ETF goes live. Then another big reason why this Western Union deal is so big is because who do you think gets excited about Western Union and payments? And it's probably not the trenchers in the DGen trenchers. Rather, it's the people on Wall Street, the TradFi bros who this just resonates. This speaks to them. And I think this is very bullish Solana, both from volume and actual transactions, but also the narrative. And prior to this, I don't know as if you necessarily like, have there been stablecoins on Solana? Yes, obviously. I don't think that if you say, what is Solana great at, or what is Solana leading in, up until this point, I don't think stablecoins enter that conversation as a leading narrative for them. This puts them in that lead conversation with one deal. But again, here, Solana saying the biggest news wasn't Grayscale or Western Union. It was Helios Labs making 493 billion transactions searchable by account at Web2 speeds. New RPC method, get transactions for address. Way too technical for me, but shout out to Mert and the Helios team there. Seems like a big deal. This was 11 hours ago. Solana re-quote tweeted their tweet from the 26th that said, big, seriously weak. They've since that post, they've announced the Western Union deal, the Western Union stablecoin deal. They've announced the Grayscale ETF, and there was something else I just missed as well. That Grayscale ETF, by the way, I'm looking for the stablecoin volume. As we're speaking of stablecoins, they just hit a 39-week high, and looking like that chart will continue to go up as Western Union gets on board and goes live as well. Bitwise spot Solana ETF, it drew 70 million on its debut as new HBAR and Litecoin funds see zero flows. So we've got, if I'm not mistaken, then 2 ETFs went live for Solana. We had the Bitwise and the Grayscale Solana Trust ETF. Is that correct, Ben?
Yes, and another huge thing about the Bitwise ETF is that it's staking approved. So there was a huge inflow of capital because since it enables staking in a way that is compliant with Web2 and TradFi stuff. So yeah, that's huge. And another thing about this Western Union, real quick, I think it's not just about the stablecoin. Like stablecoins have kind of been commoditized to an extent. I guess it's their distribution power that is what makes a huge difference. For instance, like non-related to Solana or none of these, but on distribution is the Bored Apes recent move with the anime clip and us knowing that there are a bunch of episodes prepared and having the power to create a good distribution avenue, not non-comparable, of course, but that's the key point, right? Whenever you see a player that innovates beyond product, but also is like, hey, we have a way to distribute this solution, I think that's what makes it huge. And yeah, shout out, of course, to Helios. That's what I was mentioning to Joey a while ago, of why I think still today Solana is doing a great job at attracting builders, because yeah, that's a huge unlock for us.
Hey, Ben, if you know anyone, as I was going through the Solana feed, I saw the Breakpoint announcements December 11th through 13th in Abu Dhabi. If anyone wants to sponsor a cap to Breakpoint flight and hotel, I'd love to go to Abu Dhabi. I just checked flights. I'm not really feeling dropping a few grand on getting over there, but I can be bought. So if anyone is interested, I'd be happy to make my first trip to Dubai and I'll wear whatever merch you want on the plane. I'll do silly videos. I might even be persuaded to dance like Clemente if the number is right. So not a joke. I absolutely can be purchased. My love can be acquired. Looks like probably for under 5K, you can get me to Abu Dhabi and chilling your brand throughout Breakpoint. Von Frutton, how's Vonga feeling about sponsoring Cap's trip to Dubai? He's either ignoring me or we lost his audio. Ben, can you hear Von Frutton?
No, I think he did lose his audio.
Yeah, Von Frutton, we lost you. Either that or it's part of the bit. He is deciding not to answer my sponsorship request. Let's take 2.
Not gonna lie, would love to see you there at Solana Breakpoint.
You're going
that
for
would
sure,
be fucking bullish.
Are you going for sure?
Not sure yet, but I might.
I've never done a Breakpoint. Seems like a fun time. Every time I see it on the timeline, it's one of those that I never think about going. I'm like, I'm not really that deep in Solana. And then every time I see the videos, the feedback, Diego sent me his golf stream. Every time I see the stuff, I get a little bit of FOMO. So I might try to make it this year. Von Frutton, take 2.
All right, testing. We good?
We got you. Yeah.
All right. No, it's a shame I'm not building on Solana right now, or 5K for funny Cap dancing videos kind of feels like a bargain. You really need to up your number there, Cap. As your unofficial head of business development for this enterprise, I think we need to demand at least 15,000 because your time is very valuable.
I appreciate that. I'm not greedy though. I'm just looking for the trip to be comped, and I also don't want to work too hard while I'm over there. So yeah, I could demand more, but it's more of like just being candid here. I'm just looking to get a flight and a hotel paid for.
Okay, I saw how hard you and Steve were posting in Vegas. I think if it's and I don't think you guys were getting paid anything for that one. So I will not ask any more than the Vegas. I'm only going to ask for maybe like 1 dancing video per day, and we can make this work.
Not to pat myself on the back, but some of those live tweets did some numbers. We actually outkicked my free coverage, got more impressions and views than some of the paid KOL postings. So I will we'll take that as a dub. I'm gonna screenshot some of those, and those will be in my my testimonial when we go ask for a renewal.
No, they were solid. They were solid, man. And I saw you guys when we were walking around Complex Con. Like I'm just looking around, and literally every time it is you and Steve getting video, getting pictures, like live tweeting the whole thing. It was awesome. So you just do that. That is at least 15K, if not more, worth of a sponsorship right there.
You heard it here first. $15,000 sponsorship discounted today through if the deal's done before October 31st, before Halloween. You get a significant discount, 15K down, reduced to only 5K for the 3-day sponsorship at the.
There we go. That's how you sell it. Anyway, I did not pop up to try to shill your Solana sponsorship vibes. I actually came up. We talked about like, hey, Solana hasn't really been known to be in the TradFi space, things like that. They actually have, but we just don't talk about it, right? I mean, there's stuff that we talk about on crypto Twitter, and then there's stuff that happens on crypto, and those are not always the exact same thing. But I mean, like Solana Pay has been around for a while. Solana has been, partnered with Stripe for, I want to say maybe a year or 2 years now. They've been moving kind of quietly in the background, doing the stuff that we probably find boring as hell on crypto Twitter because there's no 10x, 100x opportunity. There's no video game or cartoon associated with it, but they're doing some stuff. And you look at all the, we were talking earlier about like, what chain do you build on and why? You look at all the tooling that has been built on Solana around DeFi, like it's a super financially driven chain. We don't talk about it because we talk about meme coins and silly things like that. But like you actually look under the hood at Solana, like there's a lot of financial instruments that are built there that looks really, really attractive to people who are looking to move serious amounts of money.
Yeah. Well said. I agree. There's a lot going on and a lot of things we don't talk about here, specifically the non-degen stuff on Solana, because that seems to be, tug on most of the heartstrings of crypto Twitter. Geist in the chat says, breaking news, you can now donate to send a grandpa on holiday to show your project in Dubai. I may be on the older end of the age range, but a grandpa I am not. Plus, they already have all the Zoomers. They already got all the Zoomers talking about they actually need to tap into the older demographic now that they're getting into TradFi and stablecoins. Right? Ben, go ahead, Manfred.
I'm going to back you on this one. No. I mean, and to be in all honesty, there's segments of markets, right? Solana has nailed I'll call it 25 to 30-year-olds, right? If not younger. They need a good, born in the 1900s ambassador, and I nominate Chris Jordan here.
Appreciate it. I got the nomination from Ben as well. Just give me a shout out. This was not even in my realm of thoughts attending Breakpoint, the Solana Breakpoint this year. And now I'm going to say there's probably a 50% chance I go because of this space today, and Ben and Vaughn front and shout out there. So yeah, I'm serious. I can be had for a bargain price of just a flight and hotel. And I probably shouldn't have thrown out the dancing video. And guys, I too was just joking. I didn't take any offense to that whatsoever. You can call me a grandpa if you want. I take no offense. The beard is entering grandpa range as it continues to whiten. But yeah, very real chance I now end up going. I do have some December travels. But it'll be a full month on the road if we do Breakpoint. We got Art Basel right before that, then Breakpoint, and then heading south to enjoy some finer weather over the holidays. But Ben, go ahead and get back in here. Thank you for the shout out, by the way. Appreciate it.
Let's fucking go. Yeah. Good news. Speaking of Stripe, for people that are more EVM focused, there is this blockchain named Tempo, which is a joint venture between Stripe and Paradigm. So it will be a high-performant L1 focused on stablecoin payments and real-world financial transactions. So it will be also leveraging Stripe's global payment expertise to enable all the infrastructure for fast, low-cost cross-border settlements. So it's an interesting development happening right now. And I think why it matters is that their huge focus on enabling stablecoin like USDC, USDT to have sub-second finality and sub-cent fees. And another alpha related to this is that they raised about 500 mil in a Series A, if I'm not mistaken, at a 5 billion valuation, which was led by Thrive Capital, with ex-hires from people from ex-Ethereum Foundation and so on. So yeah, it seems also like a bullish development and focus on these TradFi infrastructure enabled or by Web3 technology, essentially.
Yeah. Multitasking here, putting all these thoughts together.
Didn't mean to throw a curveball while you were multitasking here, but yeah.
No.
So this tribe thing essentially it's just them also deepening their roots to Web3. So complementing to what they had going with Solana, they're now going to have their own venture. So in essence, it's super interesting to see where all these leads, because they're doubling down on Web3, saying, hey, we want to have our own infrastructure. So I'm super intrigued by that because they weren't satisfied just with a partnership here.
Yep. No, well said. And I kind of where my brain was going, but I can't pull all the thoughts together, is the competitive landscape amongst stablecoins, right? And it's not just more stablecoins coming out. To your point, we've got full-blown chains to focus on payments and stablecoins. We still have, to someone's earlier point, we still have the XRP army out there. It's just going to be really interesting. And I think payments are such a big deal that it's likely that there's several. It's just like we don't have just a payment processor today. There's several in the Web2 world. Same thing will happen here, but it is such a lucrative space that I don't think we're done seeing new competitors enter the space. We see the amount of money that like Circle and Tether print for their stablecoin operations. Hey, I do want to. I see Monad, some unfortunate Monad screenshots on the timeline, looking like day 2, seemingly quite a bit dip from day 1. Like I think Whale said he had in the millions on day 1, down to a few thousand in day 2. So we're going to go ahead and open some boxes on chain or on stream here and see how disappointed we might be, and then probably start to wind things down unless anyone has any other thoughts or any breaking news that pops in. But let me do the screen share here, and you all can hopefully bring some good luck. And I'd be very pleased if we just run back day 1's allocations. But let's see. Give me a right, left, or middle. This is important. Which RNG how we open this up with here. Do we go right, middle, or left? Maybe not quite as fun as Death.Fun, but if we run another...
Right's never wrong. Right's never wrong.
Right's never wrong. We're going to go open up right. Keep going. Not bad. We'll take it because it's also not gold. So that tells me it's not my biggest one. Also tells me that Whale was probably engagement farming and he didn't do as bad as he claimed to do. Which one now, middle or left?
Middle.
Also not gold. Keep going. All right. Not great, but we'll take it. So this one should be the biggest because yesterday there was 2 that were that color, then 1 was gold, and gold was the biggest. So we want to, yesterday was 79,000. So we're like, we need this one to be what, like 65,000 to match yesterday's output. So here we go, 65K. Let's call it. Turn gold. Doesn't look good. Not looking good. Go higher. High. Much higher. Oof. Down bad. Why would Monad rug us like this? Why would they get us all excited on day 1 and then nerf us on day 2? Just seems like bad business, Von Frunton.
I know, it's like somebody like didn't think of like maybe have loyalty and rewards and like, reward people on day 2 versus day 1. But hey, what do I know?
I mean, I'm grateful for the 95,000 Mon. We're calling it Mon or Moan?
Saying moan a lot with a bunch of other grown men on spaces kind of sounds weird. So I'm going to go with Mon.
Mon it is.
I'm going to go Mon. Also, because then I can call myself Mon Frunton. No, it is weird though. Because again, like go back to what you said they were trying to do, right? They're trying to do this so that KOLs with loud voices in the space say good things about you. And then 24 hours in, you have a mechanic that makes KOLs say bad things about you.
I know it's half done.
Maybe there's a method to the madness, but I'm not.
The method to the madness would be go super hard tomorrow. It's like this is just a tease, just a little letdown, a little lull, and then tomorrow it's like triple the amount. Because otherwise, like, what are you doing? Like, it's just like I know it's half does one, six the other. It's if the total after 2 days is 95,000, it doesn't really matter how that's split up. But from a psychological standpoint, from a momentum standpoint, wouldn't it make a lot more sense to do, say, I don't know, 30,000 on day 1 and 65,000 on day 2, and then 90,000 on day 3? Like, don't you want to be building momentum as opposed to the letdown? And you're seeing it on the timeline. Everyone is disappointed because they got less today than they got yesterday. And when you're making up numbers, when you're making up allocations that today don't hold a dollar amount, and you know the percentage that you're giving out, you have this total bucket. Why not build? Am I crazy here? Is this not so obvious?
No, there's probably two sides of the coin, right? Like you can do the build, and then every day you get a little bit more excitement, or you can do the big splash, and like, oh my God, the first 24 hours, everybody is going out of their minds. And again, like, what's your goal, right? If your goal was, boy, I need everybody to do this thing, so I need big splashes at 9 a.m. Eastern on the timeline, so that everybody goes and claims, right? Because you can go see that, hey, you too can win whatever, 79,000 Mon in the process. And that's what they're trying to do, right? And they said, cool, mission accomplished. We'll take a day or two of FUD, but we got everybody in there and everyone's gonna claim and we did our thing, right? I don't know. But if the job here is, I wanna build momentum leading up to TGE to get people excited so they come back and use our chain, mission not accomplished. Unless, like you said, they melt faces tomorrow and we just forget this little thing ever happened.
Yeah, odd. I don't get it. Like I'm trying to hear you, and my brain can't comprehend why they would make this decision. Why they would go backwards after a first launch that was well received. Because again, it's all numbers on the screen. I can't comprehend the strategy or the thought that went into doing it this way. And I'm not complaining. It is what it is. Like at the end of the day, it's still 95,000 mon. I still here's something else. I need you to help me understand Steve's joke in the war room from earlier. I don't get it. It says you can do a Jamaican accent if you say the word bacon. It sounds like beer can in a Jamaican accent. Bacon.
I'm not going to drop into a Jamaican accent here on right now, but I feel like just say it in your head. If you try to say beer can in a Jamaican accent, and I'm guessing it's going to sound like bacon.
Sounds nothing like bacon in my head.
But I'm not going to be the one to test this out live.
Yeah, it sounds nothing like beer can in my head, but I also am probably the worst at accents. So it's a me problem. My brain is just not wired that way for some reason.
Okay. I just did it on mute. It actually works out.
Catching up with the war room. Phonics likes the under 1 million bet on Polymarket for MegaETH. I'm curious on that. I don't understand. It seems programmed that it's going to go over 1 billion. Again, not TVL or not valuation or FDV. This is just talking about pre-sale commitments. I think they fly past that today, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to turn this music off. Von Fretten, Ben, Oxy, appreciate y'all jumping up. Anything else? Let's go. We'll just go quickly across the horn. Von Fretten, anything else on your mind? Anything else you want to get in before we wind things down?
Yeah, I think it was a really good show. I don't know if Steve was even listening on the plane because he's on a fun regional jet with no Wi-Fi, as he made us all know. But no, really good show. Ben, Oxy, always a pleasure. Thanks for having us up, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for jumping up. Ben, any closing thoughts, final comments? Great to hear from you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise, man. Appreciate you having me here, man. Lovely to connect with everyone in here and dope conversations. And I hope to see you go into Solana Breakpoint because that will be fucking bullish, man.
Here's the thing: if I do end up getting a sponsorship, I think you have to go to Solana Breakpoint because I gotta buy you at least a coffee or a drink for the assist. So I will keep you posted. If anyone comes through on that, I will definitely let you know, and I hope you can make the trip too because it's the least I could do to return the favor for the assist if it does come to be. Oxy, if you're still there, any final thoughts? Appreciate you as always, and great takes today.
Likewise, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me up as always, and I look forward to chat with the community tomorrow. Let's run it back.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, Smokey J, I saw you pop up there. What GM, sir, what brought you up today?
GM, pass me the beer can cap.
All right, you got it. I got it now. I'm not even going to try to do that though because I would spoil the fun. But I appreciate you connecting that dot in my head because it wasn't even landing. Like I'm so bad at accents. I couldn't even make it make sense in my own head. And I attempted to do it several times. So thank you very much for connecting that dot. So last thought here, I was just scanning, by the way, the wall chain, if anyone was participating in the ApeCoin raid, those tokens are now there. Congrats to everyone, including Tebow, who took it down. Congrats on the dub. I got flipped by Grateful, finished third there. So I'll go check that here in a bit. But congratulations to everyone. Go get your ape. Zane says it's Monad day 3. You open your mystery box and get negative points. So you now have to basically everything you've accumulated in day 1 and 2 get nerfed out tomorrow when we open those boxes. I'm not even kidding though. Like I've not seen one positive take regarding day 2's points. It's seems like a miss to give everyone less mon. Seems like a miss to give everyone less mon tokens on day 2. They should have come up with a better ticker, mon. You would think they'd ramp it upward each day, add to the excitement. I got 17,500 yesterday. Today, only 3K. It just seems like a miss. I can't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I appreciate the explanations here on why they might do it. And again, it is what it is. Not that big a deal. At the end of the day, it's whatever you're going to get is what you're going to get. But just seems like they stubbed their toe for no apparent reason. Like, why do that? They had some good attention. They had some good momentum yesterday. Seems like at least a little step backwards before the and Diego. It's like it's all free money. I agree. I just why not build to the excitement? Like it's just numbers on a screen. You know, the people behind the scenes know the total they're going to give. I struggle to understand why you don't make day 2 bigger than day 1 and day 3 bigger than day 2. Just me. Maybe it is the lull before the storm, and day 3 is more than day 2 and day 1 combined, and everyone is excited again tomorrow. So it could be their way of trolling or engagement farming. Time will tell. But yeah, like here, G Monad, I got trash in all my boxes today. How about you? Same. I don't get the strategy of more tokens on day 1 and disappointment. Like this isn't just me saying this. I'm not. Please don't take this out of context. I'm not acting entitled. I'm not saying I deserve more Monad. I'm just saying this is when you got one shot at TGE. You got one shot. You really need to get a lot of things right. This seems like one of the easier things to get right. And I actually yesterday I liked how they were spreading it out over 3 days. I like how they were making everyone go back, drive that engagement. You drive 3 days of screenshots in the timeline. This just isn't. You don't want people disappointed. And that's if you do like one of those, one of those visual like what am I thinking of? Like a chart where it's just words, but like the more words said, it gets larger. What kind of a?
Oh, like the Wordle, not Wordle. God, what is that called? Oh well, maybe I'll think of it. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how good the brain is this morning.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Like the. Yeah,
oh no, I gotcha. We've made them. If you've been in any corporate setting workshop in the past 5 years, you have made one.
Yeah, a lot of times I do it for like social listening stuff and see what people are talking about. I can almost guarantee you that the social listening this morning on the Monad boxes is the biggest word on that image is going to be disappointment. It's like maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm just not smart enough from a marketing and customer acquisition or momentum standpoint, but I don't think disappointment is the top word that you would want if you could have your choice. So seems like again, it's early. It doesn't really mean anything, but I'll be word cloud maybe.
There it is. That's what it is.
Shout out to Jeremy in the chat. Thanks for helping Von Front and myself's brains. Appreciate you. Kind of recapping, we had big news coming out of Solana today. Probably keep eyes on them. As they said, it's a big week, maybe even more coming. ETF, 2 ETFs going live with Bitwise and Grayscale. I'd said it earlier, Solana was my Q4 trade of the majors. I will double down on that take. I still am bullish ETH. Bitcoin's not going anywhere. But I think as far as big winners in Q4, I think Solana has maybe more tailwinds than the others. These ETFs being part of it. Wasn't even anticipating the Western Union or the stablecoin push. By the way, Solana is trading at $200.05 today. It is up to almost 3% on the day, but still down in the last month and down 5% in the past month, but even more so. I mean, it ran up to almost 240 there prior to Black Friday or whatever we're calling October 10th. It had dipped a little before that, but yeah, Solana was just a couple weeks ago, was already up at 240. And I would not be surprised to see it gets back to those levels and then some here within the next couple weeks. Things continue. Fed meeting tomorrow. Anyone know?
I got nothing.
I'll wrap with this. Let me.
Fed meeting today. Is that what you're asking?
Fed meeting today. What time?
Oh, good question. I think. Oh, good question.
So it's set to take place October 28th, 29th.
But he speaks today.
2 p.m.
Powell does.
Once the meeting concludes, the FOMC will release the policy decision at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, yeah.
So I wonder, is that 2 p.m. Eastern time today or tomorrow?
Today, I'm pretty sure, because yesterday there was happenings yesterday, but he speaks today, and then right afterwards, I think they release at 2 p.m. today, the 29th.
I'm looking at the most current poly market. It's not even giving me one for. I got how many Fed rate cuts in 2025? A Fed rate cut by October meeting is 99%. So oh, so that was at any point between sets. So it's already, I don't understand. It should already be resolved, yes. Unless it's already decided. Because the poly market is showing 99% for October, December, and certainly by January. I'm drawing a blank. What's the other non-poly market site? I don't know why I can't think of the name of it. Help me out. Someone.
Delphi or Myriad?
No, not a prediction market. It's the actual like data set that predates all of our degen poly market stuff. Starts with a C. My brain's not working.
Oh, you lost me, dog. I don't know.
I will say this has given me a lot of respect for the shared brain that Cap and Steve have. Because if Steve was here, he would know it. He would be finishing his sentence, and they would have had a long debate on how to pronounce Mon already. So this is a lot harder than it looks to be on stage for an extended period of time here, folks.
We definitely would have had a deep discussion on the correct pronunciation of Mon, and Steve would have given us his Jamaican bacon beer can take. I'm stalling here a little bit because I'm trying to get someone to help me out with this site. And I'm gonna spit it out like Tourette's later. I'll be at the coffee shop. That's what it was. CMC? Yes, FedWatch. CME Group and the FedWatch. They've got it at target probabilities for a October 29th rate cut is 97.8%. So I had heard some grumblings. It must just been people fudding. I'd heard some grumblings that there was a chance that we weren't going to get a rate cut today. Seems programmed. This CME Group is, I don't think they've ever missed, actually. Maybe they have, but I'm pretty sure they have an insane track record on par, if not better, with Polymarket. But yeah, they're putting it at 98% is the probability. And then it. Yeah. So stay tuned. Looks like we get a rate cut today. I think we get another one in December as well, but time will tell. Good luck to everyone trading the meeting today. There's probably some other poly markets you can have some fun with on is he going to say good afternoon and everything else going on there. But it is today. Speaking at 1, so probably 2 o'clock. I think 2 Eastern is when we get the actual decision or announcement. Sometime between 1 and 2, it looks like. But all eyes on that. All eyes on Solana. All eyes on Monad and boxes that are less. There's less points, magical internet tokens in there than everyone was expecting. Not sure what was going on in whoever rolled out that strategy's mind, but to each their own, I guess. We will see how they wrap it up tomorrow, and should probably hold my critique until we see the final thing. But just seems weird. You want momentum, and that stalled momentum. Fed meeting, Dodeca says Fed meeting today is at 2 Eastern, PAL at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Monad may make day 3 the biggest drop for good finish. I agree. I think at this point they almost have to do that. And maybe part of it was it wasn't decided. Maybe part of it was they were gauging reception on the timeline. And yesterday, almost everything was, I shouldn't say unanimously, but seemed near unanimously positive. People were pleased with the amount of allocation they got from small to big KOLs. Maybe they thought, oh, we were too generous. We need to dial it back a little bit. Let's dial it back a lot. Gauge the sentiment today. They're going to see that people weren't pleased, and then they turn it back up tomorrow. Who knows? I'm purely speculating, making things up here. But as always, great show today. Really appreciate everyone jumping up on stage. Von Front and I too miss Steve. It does help having someone that you've got 1,019 shows of chemistry with that can finish a sentence before I put it down. But I don't think we missed a beat today with all the fine step-in co-hosts from Von Front and Ben, Oxy, Joey. Appreciate all of you. Greatly appreciate you all, not just our guest speakers, but everyone who tuned in today. If you've yet to hit the reminder for tomorrow or Friday's show, that the carousel is pinned up to the right. Go smash those as I play us out of here. And as my buddy Steve would say, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.